The odds are out for the Golden State Warriors win total in 25-26. It's 46.5 wins. We taking the over. We taking the under. We bring in an unbiased party, Whitey Gleason from Sacktown Sports, on today's program.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the good word, everyone? Welcome to Locked On Warriors. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Best way you can check this show out, just search us, Locked On Warriors. We're free and available. You can find us wherever you get your audio podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. I'm your host. My name's Charlie Walter, formerly at 95.7 The Game in the Bay Area. Also cover the team on television for CBS News Bay Area. One of my favorite partners in the world at 95.7 The Game. You can now hear him on Drive Guys, 2 to 6 p.m. Sacktown Sports up in Sacramento. Covers the Kings, but covered the Warriors for many, many years and still knows a thing or two about Golden State. Vallejo Zone. It's Whitey Gleason, or should I say Kevin Michael Whitey Gleason. Actually had him on the show 3 or 4 months ago during the end of the regular season. He gave us content gold, and some technical difficulties forced me to scrap the entire show. But one take wonder today. Whitey, how we doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm glad that I was able to help you out so much. I didn't realize that the whole thing got scrapped, but that's okay. Onward and upward, and I'll try to help you out today as best I can.
That's what you call reps, Whitey. At a certain point in time, there's no such thing as a bad rep. You get better, right, even in the shows that go in the dumpster. 46.5 is the win total that's come out on FanDuel Sportsbook for the Golden State Warriors, up from 3 wins a season ago that the Warriors easily passed. Seems pretty fair. Seems like it would put them at about that 6-7, maybe borderline playoff play-in range. Your overall thoughts when you see that number, fair or foul?
It's a good number. It sure looks like a good number. You look at the Warriors the last couple of years and you look at the changes in the West. I would run from that number right now without knowing, obviously, what the Warriors are going to look like. I know we have some assumptions about what they're trying to do, what they may be able to do. Right now, I would avoid it if I really had to, for the sake of like a friend's podcast. If I really had to pick one or the other right now, I think I would take the under. I like the 46 and 36. I think they're looking like that right now. So if I had to do it now, I'm going just barely, Charlie, but I'm taking the under.
I think it's a good team. I do think the under seems pretty fair, though, just considering Jimmy Butler is not known to be a regular season hero. That's one of your big acquisitions. That's someone that's going to be reintegrated into the lineup, and he does his best work come postseason. We know this about him. I do think there's opportunities, though, for Brandon Pajemski, for Moses Moody, and even for Jonathan Kuminga, if he's on the squad, to improve during the regular season enough to the point where they can avoid those losses like they had a season ago against the Utahs of the world and against the Toronto Raptors of the world, and some of these games that they really just kicked the ball away. And I think they can win a few of those games this upcoming season. What's your overall outlook on the team as a whole, minus 3 players? So Jimmy, Draymond, Steph, we know what we're getting with the 3 if healthy. In terms of the young guys like Pajemski, Moody, Kuminga, specifically those 3, and even Post and Santos to a lesser degree, what do you think?
I like it. I am really excited about a couple potential additions, and I know that's not what you asked, but as we look ahead at what the Warriors could be, I really like DeAnthony Melton, and I know he got hurt last year. I think he's a solid player, underrated. And Horford, I know there's no guarantee they get either one, but I remember years ago being on, as you mentioned, 95.7 The Game, I remember saying Al Horford would be perfect for the Warriors. Now, it was 2019 when I said that. So, we've had a little water under the Old Bay Bridge since then. But I still think he's a good fit overall. He's not the player he was, but I think he'd be a real good fit. I think those 2 guys, and it looks like that's realistic that they may join the team. I think they would really solidify this team going forward with the addition, as you say, of the improvement of the young players. I think they'd be in really good shape.
Yeah, I do think that I was seeing these debates on the World Wide Web today that basically the Warriors, the rumor is that they offered Bradley Beal the minimum and Bradley Beal turned that down. And obviously he's now a Los Angeles Clipper by the time you're listening to this podcast. And a lot of people said, like, what's the holdup? Give him Al Horford's money, throw Bradley Beal some cash and bring him into the Bay. And I saw the argument from some people basically saying, I'd rather have a 39-year-old Al Horford than Bradley Beal because he fits what Golden State's trying to do and he patches up a hole that they have. And that's someone that can stretch the floor, knock down threes, play down low, which Quentin Post can do, right? The difference is Al Horford can guard. I mean, I've seen videos in the past couple months, 2025 season of him, switching on to Tyler Hero and holding his own and switching on to Devin Booker and holding his own and name that all-star or fringe all-star player, LeBron James, that he would switch on and he can really hold his own, move his feet and use his length to affect shots. Not the defender he once was, but in his best day, like he was an all-time defender, man.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that he brings to the party, the Warriors obviously are all about getting the postseason, getting as far as they can once they get there. And Al Horford is a big-time postseason player. So I agree. I'd rather have Horford than Beal. Not saying that right now he's necessarily a better player, but as you said, the fit, there's a chance there, depending on how much Al Horford can still play. But there's a chance that is a near perfect fit for the Warriors.
Let's say catastrophe strikes and we get a report in the next couple of days that says, you know what, Al Horford decided that he wants to go on vacation, see some of Greece. He wants to go to the Cayman Islands. He doesn't want to play any more basketball. How screwed would the Golden State Warriors be?
Oh, I'm sure they could. I'm not sure how. I wouldn't say they'd be screwed. I know that Steph Curry, the way he put it was, look, if it happens, it happens. There's an opportunity there to really bring in somebody who absolutely helps them and fits. But I don't think that, that's going to spoil their plans if they don't get him. However, all their plans, as we know, are somewhat up in the air, and it looks like a lot of it hinges on what they're able to do with Kuminga. So whether it's Horford or some other move or Beal or anybody, right now they're kind of in a holding pattern before they can do anything.
I want to have this conversation about Jonathan Kuminga. Whitey's a good person to talk with about JK because the Sacramento Kings, the one team that we believe has made a substantial offer to the Warriors for JK services. We're going to get into the weeds of this deal. Did it actually happen? First of all, players involved. Were the Warriors smart turning that thing down? Could the Kings still have interest? Why would they throw out one offer and say, nah, we're good? We're going to break this all down coming up on Locked On Warriors. First, let's tell you about OpenPhone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about the last time you had an urgent need, maybe for a plumber or a service provider. If the first person didn't answer, did you wait? Probably not. You moved on. That's why you need OpenPhone. OpenPhone is the #1 business phone system built to streamline and scale your customer communications, all from an app on your phone or computer. OpenPhone lets you manage business calls and text from a single app. It's got a shared inbox feature that's a game changer. Your team can jump into any conversation instantly without missing a beat. And their AI agent handles after-hours calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so you never miss a customer. OpenPhone is offering my listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnNBA. That's OpenPhone, OpenPhone.com/LockedOnNBA. And if you have existing numbers with another service, OpenPhone will port them over at no extra charge. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
All right, Jonathan Kuminga. The Sacramento Kings reportedly made an offer of Devin Carter, Dario Saric, and 2 second-round picks, to which the Warriors said, Sacramento, go ahead and kick some rocks. First of all, have we confirmed this?
It looks like that probably happened. I can tell you that from the Kings standpoint, they viewed Kuminga, and perhaps still do, but they viewed it as a long shot. They took a shot. So I think that's what happened, Charlie, is they looked at the situation. Hey, Kuminga's young. We need some length in the front court. He'd be a good fit in that regard. It's interesting because I think if the Kings brought in Kuminga, they'd have to make some other changes to the roster, but that's not the point here. So I think they thought that perhaps he's a distressed asset there. This is an important word. Anthony Slater was all over this story because he's really close with the Kuminga camp. He says the Kings floated an offer, which means it wasn't necessarily like a formal offer, but it was the offer that, and by the way, I think it's a firecracker of an offer. But yeah, Devin Carter, who's coming off an injury, Saric, whom the Warriors already had, and then 2 seconds. And I think the Kings thought, let's see what happens. And of course, the Warriors said, no, we're not interested. So I don't think there's been anything since then, but I do think it happened. I think it was just a matter of the Kings thinking, let's see what happens. Maybe they're really desperate to get rid of him and we get him on the cheap. And of course, the Warriors not interested in doing that.
How are we using the term firecracker in this situation? Like one that's in your hand about to explode, or like one that's just, hey, that was enjoyable?
You got a lot of talent, Saric with the versatility. I know he hasn't been the same player in a few years. Devin Carter, just a jack of all trades in 2 seconds. I mean, woo! I don't know I don't know how the Warriors could turn that down.
So you think the Warriors made the right decision? You don't think Devin Carter, with what he's proved thus far, is worth Jonathan Kuminga, despite the situation that the Warriors are in, where they don't really know what Kuminga is?
Yeah, I like Devin Carter a lot, seriously. Last year, though, he played hurt. When he was drafted, his shoulder was hurt. The Kings got him where they got him. He probably would have gone sooner. And so they drafted him when he was injured. Last year, he rehabbed the shoulder a lot. So there's a lot we're not sure about him. He's having a really good summer league. They've been playing him more at point guard. But even today, they played Cleveland today and won. But even today, he's kind of flexing the shoulder. So obviously, it's tough for a team to have a lot of faith in a guy. Let's trade Kuminga for this guy who hopefully he's healthy. I like Devin Carter, but we're not even sure what he is right now. We're not 100% sure, but he's 100% healthy.
Yeah. The likely scenario surrounding JK is that there are some forms of handshake deals with guys like Al Horford and D'Anthony Melton. Hey, you're coming to the Bay Area. We just have to figure out JK first, because if we are to sign you guys this second, then, financially with the second apron and everything, a team can come in, offer JK a certain amount of money, and the Warriors no longer can potentially match that, and you lose Jonathan Kuminga for nothing. So that's maybe the holdup here. Is there any chance Sacramento tries to get back into the sweepstakes, in your opinion, because they believed in his talent enough to float an offer? As this offseason goes on, they start thinking more and more, you know what? The Chicago Bulls actually weren't very good. Now we got their entire team in Sacramento. Maybe we should go after this JK guy. Is there any chance they get back into the sweepstakes, or you think that's bygones?
I think there's a chance, but I think it's a slim chance for a couple reasons. I do our show afternoons on the Kings flagship in Sacramento with Kyle Draper, who's one of the Kings play-by-play guys. He says you can't put it to bed yet, but it's on the couch napping. So it really looks like it's close to where nothing's going to happen. I think I'm sure the Kings would still have some interest if they could get a deal that they thought, wow, we can't turn this down. But the closer we get to the regular season in camp, and I know we have a ways to go, Charlie, but as I said earlier, if the Kings were to bring in Kuminga, they probably would have to make some major changes with guys like Levine and or DeRozan. The closer we get to camp, I think the harder it would be to do all of that. So it doesn't look like it's going to happen, but I wouldn't totally give up on it just yet.
Are there any deadline deals that could potentially make sense for Sacramento going into Golden State's backyard and taking some players away, and then vice versa, like the DeRozans, the Levines, the names that we've kind of heard, not as much DeRozan, but Levine, we heard him connected to the Warriors last year. Like, any of these make sense as a potential deadline deal for the Warriors, or is it just not good business on either side?
I would be surprised if they did. I think one of the Kings' problems right now, and they're trying to rework things and get younger. They've done a decent job of that through the draft. But you look at the Kings roster, you've got some good players there. Like, I know Malik Monk has been mentioned relative to the Warriors. You've just got a lot of guys that right now don't have a lot of value. Charlie, I don't know how closely you look at this. It's hard to trade your guys when other teams don't want your guys. So that's why the Kings are kind of stuck right now. And they're like, oh, we're going to bring back this team for the most part. They added Dennis Schroeder, but I think one reason they're doing that is because there just wasn't a lot of interest in Levine and DeRozan or even Malik Monk.
They gave Dennis Schroeder some good money, and granted, we like Dennis Schroeder
Yeah.
as a Warrior, though. He just didn't fit. Like, fits are everything in the National Basketball Association. That one did not make sense. And he got paid $13 million plus. Are Kings fans happy about that signing? What's kind of the take on forever Warrior Dennis Schroeder up in the Capitol?
That is a great question. I am really surprised by the extent to which most Kings fans, at least that we talk to, they don't like the idea at all. It was really odd because, in the offseason, we go through, what about Ty Jerome? And I like Ty Jerome. What about Tyus Jones? What about Dennis Schroeder? And you're like, oh, no, we don't want him. And I don't know why. So a lot of fans are upset that they brought him in. We just talked to a writer from the Detroit Free Press today who said Dennis Schroeder came in. He did a great job. He finished games with Detroit a lot. Some of them were playoff games. So he was really steady. And the Kings, I think, are bringing him in to be kind of a bridge point guard. And I really don't know why. But to answer your question, there are a lot of fans that feel like he is a symbol of a team that is trying to just be good enough to lose in the play-in rather than be a team that's like, we're going to tank, but we're doing that so that we'll have a chance, hopefully in 3 or 4 years, to win a championship. Kings fans are as divided as I've ever seen them. Over the last couple of seasons, they're as divided as I've ever seen them because they've kind of lost faith in, we had the Beam team. What happened? Everyone's gone already. So they're not happy with Schroeder. We'll see. I think they're going to come to like him, but right now they're not excited about it.
Warriors, if healthy, appear to be in the much better spot in the short term, but the long term, who's in the better position? We're debating that coming up on Locked On Warriors.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you are also building wealth. One surprising thing I noticed when tracking on Monarch, it's takeout, it's subscriptions, it's the food delivery services. It adds up a little more than I had originally expected. Having everything in one app has made it so much easier to manage your day-to-day money. And if you share your finances with someone, Monarch makes it very easy to help you stay on the same page. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. I posed the question to Whitey, our guest on today's show, who is in a better position long-term, the Golden State Warriors or the Sacramento Kings? Sacramento's in a very strange position right now in the present. They looked at Chicago and they said DeRozan and LaVine had a good season together, and then they fell off a cliff. Let's bring that over to Sacramento, and let's, Halliburton's been gone for a minute. Fox has been, traded since last season. During the year was traded, and they still got Sabonis, who's a real nice player, and that's something that I guess Chicago didn't have. They had Vooch, so you're trading Vooch for Sabonis. You got Malik Monk. He's a pretty good scorer at times. And then Keon Ellis, good defender. Kevin Huerter, no longer on the team. Correct me if I'm
Keegan Murray.
Keegan Murray, who the Warriors probably would take a stab at if the JK trade involved him. One player that I really like is Maxim Reo. So let's start there before I get the overall consensus on who's in the better spot. Maxim, Stanford guy, fell past 41. The Warriors could have had him if they wanted him, was projected to be first-round talent. 7'1", can shoot it. Unreal off closeouts. Like he's got a great pump and go and has a little finesse for the size that he brings to the table. What's kind of the takeaway from his summer league games and how they feel about his future offensively? Because defensively, he is what he is.
Yeah, so far I think fans, his coaches, and his teammates, everybody's head over heels over Maxim Reo. He came in his first summer league game. He had a dominant first half. He is probably he's easily the most vocal guy in summer league defensively on the floor. He's really smart. He's funny. His teammates talk about how funny he is. As you said, he's got some finesse around the rim. He's got a very well-developed post game. I think it's a situation where the Kings and fans are wondering how he slipped as far as he did. We haven't seen him play against really good, big competition yet. Any centers in summer league. He's supposed to. They played against Phoenix and Malawach I think it was Wednesday, and he didn't play. Maxim didn't play because he'd hurt his wrist. So we still haven't seen him play against really good competition. But everybody loves him. I will say one thing to your point. He has this nice up fake, and sometimes you see smaller players fall for it. The guy's 7'1". If he up fakes, what are you going to do? Where are you going? There's nothing you can do because he's so tall. But it's like a dog, Charlie. You have a dog and you do the pump fake with the ball, and the dog goes for it every time. And NBA players are like that with an up fake. Even the guy's 7'1", you give him the up fake, and a lot of guys, oh, he went right by me. Every time. It drives me crazy. But to your point, Maxim Reo does seem to have a really good up fake.
Is that going to work in NBA games, though? Because Summer League, clearly different competition. It worked in college, and that was one of the things when I watched his tape, I was like, okay, he's got one of the better pumps I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But how does that work against, when someone switches on him that has 6'9" length and actually has some discipline?
Yeah, it's a good point. It depends who it is who's guarding him. And maybe, if he doesn't get that, if the player that is guarding him doesn't fall for that, he, of course, can let it fly. He's a really good shooter, too. He can stretch the floor. One of the best things about his fit with the Kings is the Kings feel like, we talked to Scott Perry about this, if he can continue to knock down the three-point shot as consistently as he did at college, he's a type of big who could play with Sabonis. Sabonis needs to play with a big who can stretch the floor like he did with Miles Turner with Indiana. So there's a chance that Maxim Reo is going to be a really good fit in that regard. So far, it's very early. What's he played? 4 summer league games or 3? But so far, everybody in Sacramento is thrilled with the pick.
All right, so Warriors or Kings? The Warriors situation is as such, to fill in the Kings fans that are watching this program, they don't have their cornerstone. They don't really have a set couple of guys that you believe are on all-star trajectory, especially if Kuminga is not in the mix moving forward. Unless you think Podziemski or Moody is one of those guys, then you just don't have it. Because it's not going to be Santos. You don't think it's going to be Post, and the list goes down and down. I will say this. When Curry, Butler, and Draymond are out the door at the same time, you clear up like $150 million of cap space. That's a nice position to be in when you've vaulted yourself to the second most profitable, franchise in all of sports. We don't know how that's going to go when, they have the free agency treasure trove to choose from and who's going to be available and all these things that go into it. But it's not the worst position to be in the world, especially considering the Warriors have most of their first-round draft picks over the next 6 years or so. Now compare that to the Kings. I'll hand it over to you. Do you like the Kings' position that they're in now better than the Warriors or no?
The big thing is, if we're being honest, the Kings I know they have a new GM they just hired in April, but the Kings have not shown over the last 20-plus years the ability to draft well enough to get from where they are to a point where they want to be. Maybe they can. Scott Perry he certainly made some good draft picks just in the last draft. But that's the thing with the Kings. They really have to prove that they're capable of doing that, putting an organization together and being capable of sustained winning. The Warriors have proven that. You're right. Of course, when Steph leaves and Draymond leaves, there's going to be a crater there. How are they going to fill that? But they've proven they know what they're doing. The Kings have not proven that. And I think the Kings also, they don't know who that guy is going to be. Who is you have DeMar DeRozan right now and Zach LaVine. They're your best players on the team right now. But that main man going forward, the Kings aren't sure who that will be, and they're not sure how they will get it. It's interesting because I think the Kings right now are kind of on a 2-timeline plan, and I'm sure Warrior fans are all too familiar with the whole 2-timeline plan.
I think the Kings are set up for quite the garage sale if they're not good this season. I mean, Sabonis, DeRozan, LaVine, list goes on and on. Keegan Murray, like you got some players that can return you some real nice young assets if you decided to go that route. So I pose the question to you, how would Kings fans react if they decided to, get rid of the entire team and once again prepare for the future? Because right now it doesn't feel like they're preparing for any sort of future. It just feels like they're kind of middling. Yeah.
2 things. I think, for example, DeRozan, they probably wouldn't get back what you'd think. I think they have not gotten the interest this offseason that they thought they would get. But to your larger point, it's amazing how many Kings fans, I've never seen this before either, and I've been in Sacramento a long time. A lot of Kings fans are like, get rid of the veterans. Let's tank. Let's let the young guys play, and let's see what happens and get better draft picks. So a lot of Kings fans, more than I can ever remember in my time in Sacramento, would be on board with them doing that, because again, they've kind of lost faith in this whole effort to bring in veterans and stay, like a 44-win team and then see what happens in the playoffs. Kings fans are getting tired of that, actually.
What is their ceiling? Is there any chance that they come out and it's like, wow, Sacramento is actually pretty pesky?
There's a chance. I don't think it's a great one. I still think their ceiling would be about, if like everything fell into place, I still think it'd be like 45. And that, like I say, that's if like, woo, look at this. I don't think it's likely. There are really still the big question mark with them is, Charlie, they don't guard people. They are not a good defensive team. And then when you have, DeMar and Zach LaVine as your two big stars, you can have all the talk and about your culture and we defend people, but if your two best players don't really defend people, it's hard to gain much traction.
Whitey, great stuff. Any good books to recommend back on the shelf? And anything you could throw my way?
Well, Matt Barrows has a really good book. The writer for The Athletic, who writes about the 49ers, he has a murder mystery that I hear is tremendous. Unfortunately, I haven't read it yet. I don't recall the name of it. But Matt Barrows, I think he wrote it with his sister. 2 thumbs up. Everything I'm reading says Matt Barrows' new murder mystery is tremendous. Great summer reading.
A badge of honor from Whitey, and that was not endorsed by, Barris did not call him and say, Whitey, I need you to say the name of my book, and Whitey forgot the name of it on live on air. But good stuff, my man. Thank you for hopping on today.
Anytime.
Locked On Warriors.
I appreciate it.
Free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Peace, everyone.